Hi, everybody. It is Wednesday, so I'm having a wild Wednesday. We're trying to get to Vegas. We need your help to get there. I'll be right back with my buddy, the Divvy Daddy, right after this. Hey, Patrick, great to see you. You have had quite the exciting day. What's going on in your world?
Oh man, it's been quite a wild ride. As we get closer to the symposium, it feels like my voice is like, I get what you guys are talking about now, where you just keep wanting to drink water.
Or beer, whatever,
Something. My throat just feels
something.
so busy. I just had a fun one with Greg Manarino yesterday, just came out today.
I saw that.
That
I
was
saw that
really
this morning.
exciting. It's just been fun, guys. I'm having so much fun bringing Bitcoin to precious metals and having real conversations. It's been great.
And that one with Greg Manarino, they can find on your YouTube channel, Sat Pulse.
Yeah, that's
on
correct.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be sure to put the link in the description of this video so people can check that out. Greg Manarino's been in the gold and silver world for I don't even know how long. Just a great guy. And he's going to be speaking at the Silver Symposium in Vegas. I'm trying to get to Vegas, baby, and I want to meet everybody in my community there. Pimpy's trying to join us. We got him a link, and he's has a power outage in California. I guess when Uncle Cliff was talking about all the power outages, maybe that was like a rolling thing in California. There seems to be a problem there. He might be jumping in to join us. If he is, we'll pop him in the chat or the conversation. But let us know. I've got a link in the description if you guys can join us. There are different packages. The beginning package starts with my discount with the link provided at like $89, plus you get a silver 1 ounce round to join the Silver Symposium at Caesar's Palace, September 29th through October 1st. Tell us all about it.
So what we're doing is the Silver Symposium has been an event that's gone on for a while, and I got to attend it, especially last year. It was quite the event for me. I got to meet a lot of people that I've been following, especially people like Economic Ninja and things like that have just brought a lot of relevance to my world. You know, the idea of precious metals and how to incorporate that into my strategy. How important is it? What's the reality about the supply side of it versus the demand side of it? What's really happening in the markets? Is it all true? So these are the type of things that we try to make sure that we're doing a good job representing so that we can make sure that we're bringing this stuff to the market. You know, Bitcoin Ben in the show. Ben.
Oh, there's Ben.
If it wasn't for Bitcoin Ben, I would not have met any of you magical friends. So this is the point where I get to pause and say, Ben, I called you. I would love it if you are there. You would be my VIP guest of honor. Please call me. You got my number. Because these guys, again, like people who understand the value, not just of Bitcoin, not just the value of silver, but the idea. And, you know, Ben popping in is so important because one of the people that we're looking at having is one of Ben's favorites. He talks about him a lot, is G. Edward Griffin. So if we have him show up, it looks like it's something that we might have. And getting to think through like where the dollar is. And before I got to get on the show, when I was just a miner and I started looking at people on YouTube who do Bitcoin, and I see Bitcoin Ben, and then I find this whole community of them loving Bitcoin for something other than the fact that it's really profitable. It was about truth. And when you start to realize that there's truth that we are missing, things that we've been lied to over and over again. And he mentioned stuff like Creature of Jekyll Island. And then you hear all the crazy talk in the book of Enoch. And then all of a sudden you go, this is real. Like,
right.
This mother trucker, he's real. Like, and I need to know more. And you start to meet the community, and then you can't unsee what you have seen. There's no going back. And I think that's what we're trying to do here for the silver community as well. We want the silver community to recognize something that we identify with as crypto people. We call it the crypto commandments in my league, but what it's called is very simple. Number one, The dollar is garbage. We agree fiat is manipulated, it is not truth, and it is one way that they just keep enslaving the system. We agree the number two thing is that we choose the freedom mindset. Bitcoin allows me sovereignty. The silver in my house allows me sovereignty. It doesn't matter what you say or do as a nation or government or state or SEC. If you decide you want to tell Coinbase to stop everything else, it doesn't matter what they say because we have sovereignty. And the silver people can really relate to that. The gold people can really relate to that. They're just really sour that crypto stole all their money during the last cycle. And, I think Ben said this at one point. He said one of the banks wanted to talk to him one day for consulting. And when he gave them a fee, his agreement, and he said something like, well, you guys have been screwing us for years. Payback's
Wow.
remember he
You
said
know what? Yeah.
it's all time,
Yeah.
as pointers, as people who understand freedom and value it, to share it with people who are like us, because the sad reality is, they're worried about Bitcoiners taking their lunch again, and we are going to take their lunch again. Bitcoin is sitting at a $550 billion market cap. Silver's at 1.4. Gold is at 14. And with Bitcoin going to $100,000, we will be back above silver. And the reason why is because more Bitcoin has been mined since when Bitcoin was at $60,000. There's more supply. So when Bitcoin hits $60,000, it'll be way above $1.1 trillion market cap. And these are the things that the silver people are starting to realize that they can't argue with, because it doesn't matter if you're Peter Schiff and you want to talk Bitcoin and you hate it, even though you use ordinals, that makes no sense. You hate the thing that you use. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone actually saying like bet against the company that you use. They say like, hey, if you like Coke, invest in Coke. If you like Macy's, invest in Macy's. Yet we have people being tricked into buying things that add no value. And so I think when we share this value proposition of Bitcoin, the one thing that they can never argue with, and I talked about it last week with Peter Kraft, we've talked about it with Michael DiRienzio from Silver Institute, is how much silver is there? What is the supply? Like, just can you quantify that? And what's the actual demand coming in every month? With Bitcoin, I could tell you what that is exactly. Bitcoin is the only asset class ever created where we know the basic fundamentals of the market. The most basic things that impact price are the supply and demand. And if we know there's a limited supply and the demand has continued to increase, there's no way but up for the price, guys. So banks are realizing it. We're all realizing it. And it's time the precious metals people start learning too.
Well, and that's where I love, speaking of Bitcoin, Ben being in the chat. Thank you for joining us. He really helped to bring community together when he, put his money where his mouth was, and his, got on the road and brought community together. And that's where, like, when for this year, he was the team, he and Kelly were the Team Mighty, champions, because they do the work of bringing community together. They do put back their words with action.
We Caitlin had pulled out a onesie, Lisa, as we're getting ready for the new baby.
Oh yeah.
And it's that onesie that I had made for the Bitcoin Ben event with Grayson, as it says Bitcoin Ben #1 fan. And so I'm really excited. I was just thinking about him last night because she just pulled out that onesie. It's been so long since I've seen that. Been like 2 years.
Love is an action, and an action is community. And that's where, like, my favorite thing about crypto is that we all are stronger together, and pulling our value, our worth, out of that corrupt financial system, the old legacy system, and putting it in something that we can see. And we can see the transactions, we can see what's going on, we can call out corruption, and we have control of it. And that's what I love. And I'm so grateful. Yes, he says, congratulations on the new baby.
Oh, so man, yeah,
congratulations.
Congratulations, 4, like, God, what was I thinking?
Stacking good energy, stacking lives, stacking babies.
I told my wife I wanted to go on the Litecoin cruise. And I told her it was like 2 weeks after the baby was born. And she told me I could go, but I'm thinking it's a trap. Like, I know there's no way Caitlin's gonna be okay with that, you know? So instead, I'm deciding to like play it last minute, and if she kicks me out of the house, I will go on the Bahama cruise. Like if she twists my arm, but man, I love these events where we just get together, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be releasing a lot of cool stuff. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with these kind of things. These are like Satoris that have
Oh, what is this?
Bitcoin loaded on it. So this is one of the more
Cool.
rare ones, but I'll be making a bunch of my own, but they're going to be actually silver loaded with Satoshis on them. So for those of you who like to argue, well, what happens if the blockchain goes down? You can't exchange Bitcoin.
Right.
Well, I'd like to argue that I have 100,000 sats sitting right here, and I can give
That's
that to
really
you.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
all
that.
the keys are underneath the hologram. So little things like that that we're going to be bringing to the markets that are just different, that are new, that are not something that have been done before, that marry the two communities together in a way where we can both be happy. Like, hey, you like silver? Try this. You like Bitcoin? Hey, try this. Both
Well, and
communities
we
have
do have the yeah, we have the freedom of choice. You know, today was Litecoin halving. I know for the Silver Symposium, you're going to have Bobby Lee is one of the speakers, and you're going to
Bobby,
have
not sure
Ballet
he's
wallets.
yet, but Ballet
Oh,
will be
okay.
there. Bobby
Ballet
Lee
will
may
be there.
not come because I think he might be in China at that point. So
Okay.
we're still hoping for Bobby to come. I don't know how he's going to say no though, because we have Elias Ahonen coming, who literally wrote the Bible of what we call it in the physical world about physical cryptocurrency. So I'm really excited. I think Bobby will be there, but he
Okay.
hasn't really confirmed yet. But Ballet
Okay.
will.
But Ballet will be there, and you are offering out of the people that purchase tickets from my channel, they are entered in a chance of a silver ballet wallet and something else. I can't remember
Yeah, I'm
what
gonna
you
get
were
a Ballet
offering.
wallet sent out and an ounce of silver to them, and we're just
Yeah.
gonna have some fun because we're making some silver coins for the event. Everyone that's coming to the event will get a 1 ounce silver coin.
That's pretty impressive. So, with that, I mean, by the time the end of August rolls around, the way that things are going, and I just saw the latest, greatest. Um, what was the interest on the US debt? We're going to be paying over $1 trillion
Yeah,
just on interest alone. So I can't imagine what
it's a
silver will be
real
worth by the
crapshoot
end of
coming.
August.
It's like
Yeah.
so funny too. And then I was trying to explain to people like what the debt rating means. Like when you reduce the credit rating, you basically are like saying, hey, you used to have 800 perfect credit score. Now you've got 650. Less people are going to want to keep your money. It's like, it's a big deal today when they announced yesterday that the markets are impacted because of this. When they're reducing us from a AAA bond rating to a AA, that's a big deal. And people are less like countries are less likely to want our bonds, sending the value of the dollar down, which is what we saw in the DXY,
Mhm.
and these are the things that impact our markets as these governments and political idiots play games with our money that we think is valuable. They're holding these dollars and they're wondering what is happening around them, but the answers are here. They're just too lazy to look for it. If we take time to understand what they're doing to our dollar, which is why, again, it's our first commandment, the dollar is garbage. They
Mm.
play with your money, guys. They take it from you. They tax you everywhere you go. You're losing your wealth every time they keep the money in the digital system. The bank gets a cut every single time. These are the things you want to stay away from, and the things that Bitcoin empowers you to do. When you're paying, you pay people like me, a miner, to continue offering the service for the network. And there is no middleman. There are no $25 wire fees or $35 wire fees or 2.5% check fees. That's not how it works with Bitcoin. And it's time that industries get with the game, because as soon as they start, they're not going to be able to stay up to date. They can't catch up with Bitcoin.
No, for sure. Well, and we see the corruption, just recently we watched SBF just get walked out of those big golden doors at the courthouse. And in the statement, they said, we will not be looking into the political corruption of the campaign finance. We will not be investigating that. And it's like, so you're admitting to it and you're not going to look into it. People lost millions of dollars, and that's the one part you're not going to look into. Then today, around Well, it was 3 o'clock in DC time. There were people walking out of the Senate, hands up. I don't know if it was a false flag or what it was, but there were some very strange statements. If you go back and look at the Capitol Police timeline, by 3:45, they said everyone was sheltering in place. By 4 o'clock, within 15 minutes, they said that all buildings had been cleared and that the buildings were closed and would not be reopened. Within 15 minutes, everyone that was sheltering in place, it had been cleared and the buildings would not be reopened. So I don't know what happened to the people sheltering in place, but it is very curious with all this information that's come out. Makes me wonder what happened to those people that were sheltering in place. And were they possibly taken into custody? That would be a wonderful thing. I don't know if we'll ever know. Makes me wonder if SBF rolled on all those people.
Honestly, that stuff, Lisa, doesn't get to me because is it a surprise to you that SBF is getting the red carpet treatment?
But could crypto have been used for good to expose that corruption that was, because really that was
Crypto has been used for good to expose corruption.
right.
The blockchain is truth. It doesn't lie. One
Right.
thing that people think it's a mistake, it's an assumption that they make is because you're operating on the blockchain, it's anonymous and we can't figure out anything. And that's actually very untrue. Mathematically, it gives you a historical picture that can never be changed. If I start sending you Litecoin and I keep sending you Litecoin, and one time you send it to another friend, and that friend uses it to buy something at the internet or buy something and swaps it on Coinbase, they now have a 3-person path track back to me and they can learn my spending history. It's not very hard. If you know how to utilize the blockchain, you can argue in court. It is actually been used as case law. When you submit blockchain as evidence, when Bitcoin moves from wallet A to wallet B, there is no argument that that occurred. There's no reason to prove that that really happened because blockchain alone is truth. And I just don't think that they could get away from that. The idea is it's not, can we prove that it happened? It's, are they going to do anything about it? And
are they going to do anything about it?
I just don't think it will. I think what will happen is, everyone keeps asking me what I think is going to happen. I'll tell you what I think is happening with our Bitcoin cycle. The Bitcoin cycle is obvious. This has happened for 12 years now. This is just kind of how things roll with Bitcoin. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but get with the program. That right about here, coming into October, we're going to start seeing a downtrend for Bitcoin because the Bitcoin guys have already seen, the miners have seen that floor level that they need to see to sustain their mining. And that's right around $14,000 to $15,000 right now. Our miners break even in electricity. But one thing that you guys forget that happened, that doesn't happen anymore, is we used to have to sell our Bitcoin to pay for our electricity. Now we can take loans against our Bitcoin to pay for our electricity because we will never get rid of our Bitcoin. And you find private offices that are willing to custody and take custody of your Bitcoin, but you get loans against that Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, we'll never sell the Bitcoin. So as long as miners can afford that, then what you're going to see is right in between October, November, December, it's going to be a rough cycle. I think people need to get ready for that, especially the year before the halving. August has traditionally not been a great month for Bitcoin when you have a year before. So I'm thinking August, September, October, we'll see a dip going into Christmas time. And then halving comes and we're going to be in bull high season. And I'm talking like by December 2025, you'll probably see Bitcoin in the 125,000 unless big money comes in. And that's the player that we don't know. But when big money enters, everything is gone because there is no Bitcoin to buy. It's an assumption and it makes an ass out of you and me. Not me. I know there's no Bitcoin to buy. So if you make an ass out of yourself that thinking you're going to be able to buy Bitcoin next year, it may not be a reality for you. And if you could, you might be able to afford a tenth of a Bitcoin at 10,000.
But you were saying 2025.
Yeah, that's
December 2025.
Top of the cycle is right around Christmas, right after, based on the cycles, it's going to be right around there based on my estimate. Now, I'm not some guy that you should listen to at all about price. This is just my speculation based on cycles. I see that it will probably top out around 125 or so. My expectation is that it will retrace again to a bottom of around 64, which was the top of the last cycle, which is what we saw this time. It went from 60 down to the top of the last cycle around 15, 16. So it's just higher highs and higher lows. It's a 4-year cycle. And these are the years where
That's
you
what
want to
Charlie
get
Lee
the
said
silver
about.
symposium ready to say, okay, Bitcoin's at its high. Who do I know? Like Andy Schechtman, who wants to sell me some
That's
silver.
right.
Because when silver takes a dump, what am I going to go do? I'm going to go and deposit it. I'm going to take a loan when Bitcoin crashes down to 60 again, crashes down to 60. Everyone's going to have their hair on fire. And I'll take half of the value of my silver, buy some Bitcoin, double up on my Bitcoin and my silver. You got to play these games against each other. When you understand the Bitcoin cycle, that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about.
So strategy, connections, resources, that's what we can find at the Silver Symposium, and a lot of fun, a lot of friends, a lot of community. That's what we can find at the Silver Symposium. You guys, you got to get there. You got to help me get there by buying your ticket with my link. That is it's the Road to Ruta link. Bix is not going to be able to make it, so I'm using his link as my link to help me earn a little bit of. I get a little kickback when you use that link, and that helps me pay for my expenses to get to the Silver Symposium at Caesar's Palace to see SAT Pulse and stockpulse.com. And Greg Manarino is going to be there. I'd love to see Bitcoin Ben there. Maybe we can get him to come out.
Well, like I said, for you guys who don't know, like even Joe Brown, like, man, that guy is a sharp cookie. I think he is the next Robert Kiyosaki, in my opinion.
Wow.
I got to give him, he gave me the opportunity to give him a wish list of like, if you wanted to hear me talk about one thing, what would it be? And I gave him an outline of lists that he can hit. And he's like, that's not one thing. That's like a book. I was like, yeah, could you talk that book on stage real quick? And so I don't know what he's going to give us, but if I know Joe Brown and you guys haven't watched Heresy, like he's one of my favorite sources, really short, quick videos that teach you quite a lot and have really connected the dots of some of the woo stuff you guys talk about. It's way over my head, guys. Like it doesn't make sense intrinsically. But I can't deny that it's true. So you have to start making sense of it because I'm not satisfied with, I don't know. Like, I don't know I know what he said. I don't know how he thinks that, but I need to figure out why everything is lining up with what he thinks. And that's kind of this learning experience that gets you to think smarter and start to think better and bigger and get out of the crappy system that they've enslaved us in. It's been one of the, you and I talked about this right before the show started. It's like, I'd never go back. I'd never go back. You want me to have a W-2 job? Like if my ex and her attorney are watching, like, no, it's not going to happen ever.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what we have to like sell, get through. I know that like this time is temporary and that God is my protector and my provider. And the system is so broken and corrupt that I know that there's another side and another way to get to the truth and not have to sacrifice, the time with my family and the truth. I will live in the light and the truth.
Well, that's what happened here is when we started with Stock Pulse, they really wanted me to highlight the junior miner space and how great they are. And I got into it and I started learning about it. And there's a lot of geologists involved, right?
And interesting.
And I didn't learn a whole lot of where the value was coming from. So it took a lot of digging to find companies that had real value. And what Rob kept asking me was, why aren't you getting fired up? Why are you more fired about XRP? And I said, because this is my passion. You can't take the Bitcoin out of Patrick. It's just not going to happen. I can't see anything another way than the Satoshi way. Everything I think of is in sats. I was like, the whole UFO thing doesn't bother me. None of the stuff going on in politics bother me because my belief is in God and Glocks. Like if an alien comes down, I'm going to shoot it in Jesus' name. And if anything else comes through my door, I will practice the same vigilance and do the same actions. I will just shoot until the threat stops or until I go
Mhm.
to heaven. But I'm not going to bow down to any of these garbage things they're
Mhm.
trying to feed down our mouth. Joe Brown says it really well. Handouts lead to handcuffs. And that's exactly what they're doing with these CBDCs. We just got to be cautious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrifying, that whole world coin thing where they're wanting people to scan their eyeball and,
Yeah.
um, submitting to things where it's like, "Oh, well," I mean, even my daughter, is, you know, young, married girl, and she's talking to her friends and all that, and she said, I think that all that COVID money was a test to see who would who would just stay home and take free money and not try or work for yourself, or because her husband worked his butt off and started a business during that time and saw who else wanted to come along with him, who wants to go work hard, who wants to keep working, and he never stopped. And a bunch of their friends like looked at it as, oh, we all get a pass,
Get
and
ready to have a
you
fourth
saw
baby.
a divide.
And if you start having a fourth kid, you want
Yeah.
to keep working. Like,
Yeah.
you really want
Yeah.
to work. Like, and your
Yeah.
wife really wants to work. You go crazy. Caitlin was the one who said, Patrick, you need an office. And I said, for
Yeah.
what? I don't work. She said, you need to do something. Go do
Yeah.
something anywhere at an office out of this house. So I did. And next thing you know, I'm telling the precious metals guys how they're wrong and Bitcoin is right. And I'm taking over the show. So let's
That's
talk about
awesome.
Bitcoin. And that's
I
all I'm
love
going
it.
to keep talking about is Bitcoin and community, because that's the only thing I believe in is self-sovereignty. There's no reason for me to hold your assets and make money off of you. I've seen the custodian stuff before, and the Vivas out there that just end up being just terrible people, and you just don't want to
Mhm.
trust anyone anymore. And
Yeah.
what you really want to do is teach people to become the stewards of their own wealth and to really
Mhm.
store something that's wealthy, not something that's perceived wealth. And when you learn the difference between what is true and lovely versus what is not true and manipulated and gross and evil, you'll never go back and you just can't unsee it.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to see you in Vegas, and I think it's going to be a great time. I trust that our community will be there and that we're going to be able to have. I know you said you're going to have a special place and time for us to do a meetup, and I'm excited for that. I hope Pimpy's going to be there. I think he's already
Yeah, I talked
committed.
to him today. He said he's going to be coming. He already promoted the show. I'm getting him his own link too. So, he can
Great.
also share it because it's a win-win. You guys know that when I
Yes.
win, we all win together. It's just, me personally. I love my
Mhm.
community. I love you guys. So you coming out would just be more because I'd love to see you there. I don't know how successful this event will be, but I could tell you that at the end of the day, the way I define success is my friends are there. We have a great time. We learn. And I hope that people who are running the event aren't mad at me because I've lost too much money. That sounds like success.
I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I really think it's going to be a great thing, and I love all the solutions that you're bringing for everybody in the community. And I get to like buy a new dress or something, surely, if I'm in Vegas. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
I should remind you, in Vegas, Aria has those really nice shops.
Mhm.
Gucci, Louis, they're all right there for you. And should you come, I would really love to watch you shop there.
I would hope silver is really high and Litecoin and Bitcoin are really high, so we can do some great shopping.
I would think
That
that
would be
was fun
awesome.
last time when we went out shopping. I never forget that time with you and Amber. Like, I was like a
That was
kid in
fun.
a candy store, had no idea what I was doing, and I felt so out of place trying on a Gucci jacket. But that was, that was
It
so much
looked great on you though.
that was
You
so much
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, you have a great frame for a Gucci jacket for sure.
Thank you.
Uh, we'll have to try that again. Gucci jackets for everybody, for sure. Well, we'll see you guys there. Thanks for joining us. And I'm also gonna take. I have a letter that was signed. That I'll get Bitcoin Ben to go with me to the gold and silver pawn shop. I've got a letter signed by George Washington that I want to get. looked at to see
Oh
if
no,
it's
don't do that.
real or not?
Come to my event. We're gonna have great collections will be there, and
Oh,
we're
cool.
looking at, and great collections. Stacks and Bowers are gonna be there. So these guys are people that auction these things off, and then we're also gonna have graders there from PGMS and I think ICG. So we'll have graders there on. I forgot to tell you guys about that. Yeah.
Oh my
I,
gosh, that's awesome. So coin collectors could bring stuff there to be graded
yeah,
or looked at.
exactly.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Okay.
Yeah, so that
So
kind of
you'll
stuff is in the work now. We're just waiting to have them like commit, but that's probably going to happen too because once they had Elias Ahonen coming, they're going. Everyone's coming with their physicals. They want it. Like one of the books that I'm going to be sharing on my show next week sold for almost 12 Bitcoin, and I have the more rarer version of that book made by Elias and signed by like Leolana, Noah Lewis, right,
so
or
they
Mike
do
Caswell.
signature verification and all that.
I'll show you
Oh
guys
my,
the books. It's really cool, but it's more like Bitcoin collectibles, truly things like these that are made out of
okay.
silver and gold that have 1 Bitcoin value loaded on them, for example. Or let me show you this.
I also have a book from,
This is one of my rarest ones.
okay, let me see.
1 second. Okay. This is a Bitcoin bond.
Oh, very cool. Lift it up just a little bit. Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And they're loaded. So they make these types of things. They make like bearer notes as well. So these are all loaded with Bitcoin. And again, you can transfer them without being on the blockchain and still has the Bitcoin loader on it. So yeah, we're bringing lots of fun people because I'm turning it into the event that Rob gave me the opportunity. He said, Patrick, it's your show. I'm done with the game that we were playing with these guys. I want to have some fun. I want to do it right. I'm on the train. What do you want to do? And that's what I was trying to tell
This is
everyone, guys. It's my
awesome.
show. Like, do whatever we want to do, let's do it. Like, let's show up and create some networks. Let's build together. Let's have some fun. You guys who love, show up and talk to these guys who love silver and become friends. You have no idea. You have your best friend living right there next to you, and you probably will meet him at the symposium. And he might be a silverhead, or maybe he's a guy who really wants to get into Bitcoin and has a ton of silver, and you're someone who's like, I'd really like to get into some silver.
I have
I
an
got some Bitcoin.
idea. I'm having an idea
Yeah.
spawn in my head that we'll talk about offline. But I do want to just jump in really quick before I know you've got a meeting here in a minute that you've got to get to. I want to tell everybody to please go to the Very DAO YouTube channel tonight here in just a couple hours at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and jump in the live chat. We had an amazing interview with Bill Lagner. He's from the Bearing Asset. He started Uphold. He was one of the co-founders for Uphold. Reggie was in the interview. We talked about macroeconomics and crypto and leaving corrupt financial legacy and going full-time crypto for truth. And it was an amazing talk. So please join me over there in the premiere of the live chat later this evening at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I will see you guys all there. And I will hopefully see you guys. Get your ticket for Vegas Silver Symposium. Use my link so that I can meet you there. And I will talk to you later, Patrick. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this. I'm really excited about it. And I think it's a great tool and gift to the community. And super excited about it.
And I do have to say, Trineman, I love you, fam. Steven, Daddy-O, you guys are all family. Ollie, you guys are all legit. Miss you guys. And I hope you guys will be there. But just know that this is not one of those events I'll get to like play around with you guys as much because you got to be responsible on this one.
I'll play around with them. We'll have lots
of
fun.
Amy that. Trineman, don't tell Amy.
All right. Love to you all. See you guys in Vegas, baby. See ya.